Well, some have been without a job and wondering if they'll be able to pay their rent or mortgage. Apparently now, the Prez has said that he will step in and make sure that people don't lose, as you would say, their home or be removed from their apartment while they don't have a job. You know what I mean? So I guess that's some good news in a certain respect there. He's talking about a payroll tax thing as well. But I mean, it's interesting to see that the fact that they can't figure out what they want to do with this whole package. They've been talking about it for like 2 or 3 months, and they can't ever decide on anything. I did a video thinking, okay, we figured out what they're going to do. No, of course not. So still they don't even know, because apparently they can't just sit down and agree on anything. And while people are basically without a job and can't pay their bills, you know what I mean? Now, check this out, getting into some other things here. Apparently, they have a score for you now, folks. They just didn't tell you. Yes, a score like I've been talking about all this time. We're not talking about your credit score. We're talking about a different one, all right? And apparently, they've been using these to decide whether or not you should get a loan and other things, or even potentially a job, and you didn't even know. It's all within your cell phone, of course. They've been keeping, I guess you would say, they've been figuring out things about you, all right, with your cell phone, which of course you thought they couldn't do stuff like that. Oh, maybe you didn't. I'm sure if you're a subscriber of mine, you probably already knew this, but you didn't think of this, though. You didn't realize that they actually had another score already, right? Well, apparently they do, and it's used to decide how long you even wait on the phone. So if you're on the phone waiting in line to talk to somebody because you bought something or because you need to pay a bill, a medical bill, or whatever it is, apparently the length of time you're even waiting in line on some phone calls could be a result of the score. That's just amazing. I can't even believe that. So they have this score, all right, and it's interesting. I mean, they just discovered apparently this, and this is big business too, apparently. In the tech world, we're talking about them selling this, okay, and not even telling anybody. And of course, you know, we've all talked about a certain score similar to this, okay, that's being used in this country here. If I can get it on the screen. Of course, this country's been using this for like 3-4 years now. We've been using it apparently for a year and didn't even know it. Now, of course, they're just starting to develop this. I'm sure you really like the sound of this, but yeah, I am a little surprised, you know, because I knew they were going to be doing this, but they've already been doing it apparently. And they're just starting to, you know, kind of evolve the whole thing and get it going right the way they want it to go, apparently. All right. Now, getting on to some other stuff here. This is pretty hilarious. And this just shows you where we're at, man. This just shows you where we're at. Instagram adds a new button to their website. Okay? I'm guessing this button is for those that are working at Instagram. I'm guessing. It literally is a button that says it basically says, what does it say exactly? It says, mute these kind of people. The button literally says, mute these kind of people here. Okay? They actually have a button that says that on it. Mute this here, right here. Okay? You can push it. What in the world? Really? Oh, that is amazing. Why would they? This just shows you where we're at, man. What in the world? Is this for everybody? I don't even use Instagram, so I don't know if this is on the end of those who are working at Instagram or if it's on the end of just anybody being able to use this button. I don't know. But apparently because they don't like being challenged on various arguments and such, I guess that's why they put that there. That's just really ridiculous, but I'm not exactly surprised. Which is, I mean, that is kind of sad at this point that I'm not even surprised by that, you know? Where are we at, man? They have a button to mute these kind of people right here. Dude, what in the world? Oh my goodness. Okay, so what else do we got? We got lots of good stuff here, folks. Like usual. This one's pretty hilarious. I guess this dog owner here wasn't very happy when he discovered a sticker on his dog's collar, which was basically for the Prez for 2020. So he put out a $5,000 reward. Who's the person that put the sticker on my dog's collar? I don't know what he's going to do when he finds out who it is. I don't know. $5,000 reward. Why don't you just buy a new collar? Why don't you just take the sticker off? What in the world? Maybe it's somebody he knows. I bet you it's somebody that knows him, man. Somebody that knows who he is and what he thinks. It's like, oh, he just pets the dog and sticks a sticker on there, you know, like the neighbor or something. That's pretty hilarious. Then we have this here, some grand new technology, an app for your cell phone. It's so awesome. Look at this one. I think you're going to really like this one, folks. We're talking about when you want to travel, you're going to need this type of pass here now in the future. I kind of mentioned this a little bit on a previous video. I don't remember which channel it was, but yes, of course, you need a new pass. You have a new Scοrε, a new pass. Great stuff. Actually, they even have another one. What was it? Some document, I can't remember, some document of some sort saying that you're free from the strain, right? And then they also have the pass that they're introducing. They're introducing this at an economic, as you would say, forum. I have it here. Great stuff, of course. Of course, they're not gonna make you have this, are you? Are they gonna make you have this thing? I really hope not. This is what I'm really hoping is not the case. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I mean, obviously, this is a great way for them to sort of pull in, as you would say, more control. Right? They want to make sure everybody has one of these at this point. And of course, this is it right here, the economic, as you would say, forum. Here's the great new thing that they're making, a new technology for everyone, a passport, a new one for your health. Okay? Yeah. It's interesting, you know. I really feel like we really need to figure this out, folks. We really need to get our head going here the right direction and get everything just back on track how it used to be. Because if we don't, we're going to keep going this direction. And we're going to have this new stuff pretty much everywhere if we're not paying attention and being vigilant. All right? Now, of course, also, you might have heard a little bit about this. We have now various, as you would say, pharmacies saying they don't want to fill, as you would say, certain things. It's interesting now. I mean, obviously, you probably already know what we're talking about. But it's amazing. They've been doing this everywhere now. Okay? And I don't know, man. It's interesting. And we're not just talking about people who say they want it for the strain, okay? We're not just talking about that. We're talking about normal other uses, because this stuff's been around forever. My mother actually uses it, okay? It's something you can use for like arthritis, things like that, and for other things. And I mean, some states apparently they're not even letting people that have been using it for 20 years to have it. All because of the outlets saying, "Oh, this stuff's no good. Oh, you shouldn't use it." You know, this is ridiculous at this point. This stuff has been around for like, I don't know how long, a long time, like 40 years. I don't even remember. It's been a long time. I think like since the 1960s or something, they've been using this stuff. And a lot of people use it for a lot of different reasons. And all because they watch some, guy on the TV say, "Oh," and of course that guy's not a professional whatsoever, doesn't know anything. And of course obviously they're doing this for a reason, right? It's just ridiculous. But getting on to some other things, this is interesting. I had a subscriber send me a video. Apparently a mayor in, where is this at? I'm trying to remember what state this was in. Was this? I don't think this was Florida. I can't remember what state it was. I actually watched this before. But basically, he can't even have a service on his own property. Apparently, okay. Look, what it was is they had a certain, as you would say, order put out saying you can't, go to your congregation. And because this guy decided, okay, so we'll follow those rules. We won't go to that building over there. We'll just have one over at our property, just a few people, right? Well, because he got word of this, he decided to change it and add more to it. Oh, you can't even do this on your own property. You can't even do this for people traveling in. So they like literally find out about these people having these services. Like, oh, we can't have them have services. Who are they working for here? Are they working for some guy with horns? You know what I mean? Why do you care? Why do you care what they do on their own property? You know what I mean? What is this? Of course, in my area, you can still go to the congregation stuff, but I don't know about, there's a lot of states, apparently it's not like that. Oh yeah, here we go. This is in Iowa? I think it is, because I don't even know how to pronounce this right. I might be pronouncing it incorrectly. City of Des Plaines. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Don't get at me if I did it wrong. I think that's in Iowa though, right? I think. I'm just guessing it's in Iowa. I don't know. At any rate, so that guy was having fun. Of course, interestingly, the men in blue showed up, but they were nice people, actually. Apparently, they even seemed to be potentially of the faith as well. I don't know. It seemed like they're on their side. So, mayor ain't, though, it seems like. But getting on to some other things here, we got Houston. $200. You're going to be paying $200 if you're not wearing one of these, folks. Faces, you would say, coverings. You're going to be paying some money. Because, I don't know, it's all these mayors, they love doing this kind of stuff, apparently. That was in Houston. What do we have here? Oh, yeah, of course. I already mentioned this, but it's getting even more ridiculous. Of course, you probably already enjoy going to the store, to the supermarket, wearing one of these right now. You're just like, oh, I love doing this every time, right? And some of you are like, man, I just don't want to wear it at all. And I already saw some interesting stories of people trying to go in, and even Brian put out a video yesterday where he went in and he was actually able to do it. And there's actually people in the store not wearing them as well, which that's interesting because in my area, there's a few, but it seemed like there was more in his area, and he's in Oklahoma. But, before they made the rule, like it was only like 10, 20% wearing them in my area. Like nobody wants to wear them. If there's no rule, they don't wear them. But now, guess what? We have this Deborah here. She loves this whole idea of making sure you have everything. Okay, she's talking about goggles and other things. Of course, sunglasses aren't good enough. You have to wear goggles. Okay, and then you need a shield. You know what I mean? You need everything. You need everything. Okay, so it's just hilarious. Is that going to be the next thing? You go to the store and everybody's going to be wearing goggles or something? What in the world? There's this game I play. It's back here, right here, this one. And there's a guy in that game that looks kind of funny. It looks like it would be the person that you would see in the store maybe in the near future. So people might be looking like this guy in the near future when you go in the store. This game's called Apex Legends. That might be your neighbor next time you go to the store. Yeah, good stuff. I want to look like that. That's so cool. But that's what they want you to. That's what they want you to look like in the future. I don't. Honestly, I'm thinking. Look, I'm not going any farther than this. That's it, man. I don't care. I don't care. They can make a rule. I'm like, no. You know what I mean? Then we have this here, folks. Check this out. This is pretty amazing. Apparently, this guy here, you might know who this guy is. Anthony here, this guy. Well, apparently, now he is making money from all this, folks. He's making royalties. Okay? If you get one of these puppies here, he makes money. Wow, that's surprising. It kind of sounds familiar. It sounds a little bit like what this guy's doing. He makes money too. It's so weird. These guys are making money off this. Wow, what a surprise. Maybe that's why he keeps saying all the stuff he does. Money! It works every time! You know? So this guy's going to get rich off all this, folks. Isn't that awesome? At any rate, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.
Today I'm going to show you how to make a superfood that'll last a lifetime without refrigeration. And it's so nutritious, you'll never have to stockpile another food. The food's called pemmican, and it was widely in use by the natives of North America and also by the Western explorers who would go for months without contact with civilization. In the 19th century, even British soldiers had an iron ration of 4 ounces of pemmican. Many of these iron rations were found intact and edible as much as 50 years later. So let's just avert our gaze from modern survival thinking for a minute, and let's think about how the guys who explored the West 150 years ago did it. Now that's exactly the kind of stuff I found in this 350-page book called The Lost Ways. It's probably the only survival book I've actually enjoyed reading, and you won't believe the survival things we've lost to history. Now I found the pemmican recipe on page 48, and I decided to give it a go. Natives used whatever was available to them at the time. Bison, elk, moose, deer, but nowadays people just use what they can buy. You just need to remember to select a low-fat red meat, and beef is perfect for this. So you'll need 6 pounds of beef, 2 pounds of rendered beef tallow, and 1/3 cup of strawberries or blueberries. And that's it. Don't include nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, grains, beans, or dairy products of any kind. Now the first step is to dry the meat and blueberries. First you need to slice the meat very thin. You can use a very sharp knife like this one, or you can keep the beef in the freezer a few hours before slicing it. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can set the oven to the lowest possible temperature, around 130 degrees, and put the strips of meat directly on the rack. So now place a tin foil on the right side of the rack and spread the blueberries out to dry with the meat. Place the rack back inside and crack the oven door to prevent moisture buildup. Let this dry for about 15 hours or until it's crispy. 150 years ago, people dried their meat by building a wooden pyramid over a small fire and hanging the meat slices on that. After 15 hours, this is what you should get. Toss it in the food processor until it becomes a powder. Do the same with the blueberries. In the old days, they grind it with a rock to crush it into a powder. Generally, well-dried meat will weigh just slightly less than 1/3 of its raw weight. Therefore, 6 pounds of raw lean meat will yield about 2 pounds of thoroughly dehydrated meat. For our next step, we need to cut the fat into small pieces about a 1/2 inch square. So place the fat in a pot on the stove and heat it up to a temperature between 225 and 250 degrees. And you don't gain anything from getting it any hotter than that other than destroying the fatty acids, which we want to do as little as possible. Now for the first 10 minutes you want to keep this on medium-high heat, and you want to stir it about every minute, and this will allow enough of the fat to be liberated to coat the bottom of the pot without burning the bottom of the fat. After about 10 minutes, you'll see a pool of fat forming on the bottom of the pot, which should be merrily boiling away. You can rest a little bit now and stir it maybe only every 5 minutes, just to keep things well mixed. After about 30 minutes, the liquid fat should have risen enough to cover the chunks, and it should look like a rolling boil. So as this liquid rises, you can go ahead and lower the temperature down to about 230. After about an hour, the major boiling action will have stopped, and there'll just be small bubbles rising from the fat. About 90% of the cracklings will be a chestnut brown in color. So use a strainer to separate these and set them aside with salt to enjoy as snacks later. They're really, really good. And if you don't like them or don't want to eat them, you can set them aside to cool for dog treats. So good. Oh, yes. Sammy, you want one? Come here. We now have to weigh the amount of ground meat and the amount of rendered animal fat. We have to have the same quantities, so you'll probably have to remove some of the excess fat. Place the remaining fat on the stove. Keep it about 120 degrees. Mix the shredded meat into the melted fat and stir it until it's well blended. Then add the blueberries and mix it again. This is how it should look. The fat should be absorbed or coating the meat fibers. There should be very little or no liquid fat pooling in the bottom of the pot. Now, following the instructions from the Lost Ways, you can store it in Ziploc plastic bags and press flat, removing as much air as possible, and therefore preventing the fat from going rancid. This should keep the pemmican from spoiling for a few years without refrigeration. So let's do that. And here's what I got. Pemmican is the ultimate survival food, no matter if you want to bug out or bug in. 10 pounds of pemmican would supply food for 2 full weeks of camping activities at 3/4 of a pound per day, providing 2,200 calories. In survival mode, the same 10 pounds of pemmican would supply energy for almost a full month. This was just one awesome chapter in the Lost Ways, but you won't believe the survival skills we've lost to history. And that's what this book is all about, saving our forefathers' skills. But I actually realized it's also about saving ourselves from the shallow world that we live in. Click below to find out how you can get your hands on one of the greatest books of this century.